welcome to Retro Warriors episode 314. As always, I'm your host, Justin Baker, and as always, I'm joined by resident old bastard Chris Saturn.
I appreciate that you didn't make some joke about this being the Pi episode or something.
The Pi, 314, I see.
I was really worried
That's the Pi number.
Yeah.
I know that number. Mm-hmm. We do have housekeeping. And it's really just that this is our first regular show.
No, it's not.
In like 3 or 4 shows.
No, it's not. We're still recovering from the last episode that was minutes ago.
But it's our first regularly structured show in a little while. Right. So
we still have a little more news than normal, but not nearly as much as last episode.
Not as much as last time.
No.
Yeah. My week, I was the proud recipient of an Xbox.
Well, let me preface that by saying that I was the proud recipient of an Xbox that I then gifted to you.
Right. That was the next portion. I was going to mention it.
Well, the thing is, my friend messaged me and told me that her son's Xbox stuff had been living in the garage for years, and she finally got the okay to give it away. And she said, "Do you know anyone who wants any of this before I give it to Goodwill?" And I was like, "Give it to me and I will find homes for it." And so I took it. I did the absolute minimal job cleaning it, just to the point where I didn't feel sick touching it because it had been in their garage for years.
And from a smoker home.
Yes.
They're pretty gross stuff.
But a lot of really neat and interesting stuff too.
Yeah.
So anyway, so now you have the Xbox.
Yeah, you gave it to me.
Yeah,
because you're like, I don't need an
additional Xbox, right?
And I was like, I love the original Xbox. I took it, I opened it up, I cleaned it out as best I could. I bought an HDMI upscaler, one of the Kaiko ones off of Amazon. I bought a copy of Mech Assault, and I'm just as happy as a clam playing Mech Assault on an original Xbox, and it's just, man, it's what a blast.
And all the controllers that he had for it were all the Type S controller, I believe. No Dukes.
And only one of them appears to be I've not even tested it because it's so damaged, but only one of them appears to be damaged. One of them's a little worn, and then there's one that's in pretty decent shape. I got a brick of melamine foam in the mail today.
Nice.
And cleaned them real good with an alcohol-soaked melamine foam brick.
I get my melamine foam at the Daiso because they sell it dirt cheap.
Yeah, I think I got 100 of them for $25.
Yeah.
For people that don't know, melamine foam is the real name of Mr. Clean Magic Erasers. It's just melamine foam. Yeah, they're just selling it to you in a box for $5.
You get a big bag of 10 of them at Daiso for like $1, maybe $2. That's great.
So melamine foam is what you're after if you're looking to clean stuff with those things. Anyway, I've been playing it. I'm kind of thinking about hacking it.
Yeah.
Mostly just because if the hard drive ever dies, the hard drive is tied to the motherboard, and the only way to remove that is to hack it.
Yeah.
So I might want to hack it just in the event that the hard drive dies. I can swap in a different hard drive. But I've really been enjoying it. You also gave me some Guitar Hero controllers,
right?
And so I got to play Guitar Hero for the first time, on 360 since 2008 or 9, I think. And man, what a fun! I love Guitar Hero. It's a fun game. It's just a good time. Thoroughly enjoy that. I also received several 360 games from you. So I was playing Half-Life 2 via the Orange Box on my 360. Oh, actually, I was playing it on my Series X.
Oh yeah. It supports that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Orange Box is supported. You can't purchase it. On the store. I think you either have to buy it on the website, on the 360 version of the store on the website, or own the disc. But it is supported on the Series X and worked fine. I played Team Fortress 2 online. I played a bunch of Half-Life because the Half-Life 2 is just so damn good. Just what a really good game.
Yeah, Portal is the only game from that collection that I've played for more than an hour or two.
Oh, I love Half-Life 2. Half-Life 2 is just fantastic. I played Half-Life 2 when I didn't know what the hell Half-Life even was. It was just a thing that came into my Orange Box that had Portal, and that's all I was after.
Yeah.
And I played it, and I was like, this seems like a pretty cool series of games. Kind of weird nobody knows about this thing, this Half-Life thing. I was not a PC gamer, to be clear.
Yeah.
I had no fucking idea.
There was a PS2 port.
And you also gave me your copy of Elder Scrolls Morrowind.
Yeah, that I've put like 2 hours into ever.
I started up a new game of Morrowind on the original Xbox. Mm-hmm. Then I remembered how bad it plays on the original Xbox. And then I switched to the Series X, where the game has been enhanced.
Oh, nice.
It runs at a pretty steady 60 FPS. All the resolution are upscaled. It looks fantastic. And Morrowind's weird because by today's standards, I would say pretty objectively that it's clunky and slow and weird and confusing.
That's how I felt about it in 2004.
But damn it, I love it. I love that clunky, slow, weird, confusing game. It's so much fun. I played a little bit of it today. I'm just having a blast with it. I'm hoping I can stick with it. Yeah. Thankfully, it has a difficulty slider. So it just like goes to like -100, and you can just keep dragging it to the left to make things easier for you.
All right.
It's so much fun. It's also one of those games where everything is a skill. So like when you're walking anywhere, you jump the whole time to get your like jumping skill up, and anytime you're walking near people, you sneak to increase your sneaking skill. Which that was in Oblivion and Skyrim, but I feel like they made it a little bit less video gamey.
Right.
I feel like they tried to make a little more sense in those games.
That's fair.
But still, it's just there's something about the world of Morrowind that's just so weird and early 3D enough to be charming to me. I don't know what it is. It's like as soon as I got there and I heard the music and I saw the big giant mushrooms instead of trees, I was like, this is fucking weird. I love it. And then you show up in town and all of the people have armor made out of giant bug exoskeletons, and you're like, yes, please. And then you go to travel to the next town and you have to ride on a giant bug to get there. I'm like, it's just so weird. Yeah. And as much as I love Oblivion and Skyrim, Morrowind is just fucking weird enough that there's something very special about it for me. So I've been doing mostly Mech Assault and Morrowind and a little bit of Halo 2 on that original Xbox, just because, yes, I have the Master Chief Collection, but there's just something about playing it on that original Xbox that's just great.
Well, I'm glad that copy of Morrowind is finally getting some use, because I have owned it since it was new, and it's maybe gotten an hour or two of play since then. So
I believe the Series X just downloads
it does.
The Game Pass version. So but still, yes, I'm playing it and would not be playing it had you not given me that disc.
Right.
So.
At least the disc will be with someone who cares about the game at all.
I am excited to have the map and the manual. Because man, you need a manual for that game. Holy shit.
Nice. Yeah, I actually also had the big ass strategy guide that was like 1.5 inches thick.
Oh my God, I was on eBay today trying to find one for a reasonable price.
Yeah, I gave mine to my sister years ago when she started playing
it. It's the Game of the Year version. It's called, I think it's just called like the Morrowind Chronicles.
Yeah, something like that.
And it includes all the Game of the Year stuff, the Blood Moon Island and the other one I always forget. And it's I think it's going for like $35 on eBay right now, and I'm kind of flip-flopping on whether or not I want to spend that, but we'll see.
Yeah, if I could ask her if she still has it, but she also still replays it regularly, so I don't know if she would.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll get one. Don't take it from her if she's using it.
Now I've spent an inordinate amount of time the last month or so playing Zelda Randomizer, the Link to the Past Randomizer, which led me also to the original Zelda Randomizer, which is not as good, but it's neat. It's just that there's not enough that is swappable that still makes that game functional.
Right.
Like when you move certain things around, it makes the game just kind of broken, either in the player's favor or hard to complete. And so it's not quite the same. But Link to the Past, I will continue to play that randomizer forever. That's one of those games that I could literally play it every day and have a hard time getting tired of it. They've got that daily challenge you can download, and I've been going through that. And
it's a game as a service, Saturn.
Yeah, except for it's free. It's free because I've bought it like 8 times across 12 platforms. How are they paying
their executives then, right? Saturn?
And there's also that combo randomizer of Legend of Zelda and Super Metroid, where it's all one game, and you walk into a door in Metroid and you come out in Zebus and you walk out in Hyrule as Link, and you can collect items that Samus needs as Link, and you can collect items that Link needs as Samus. They happen to learn that those two games use completely different addresses and memory from one another, so there is no overlap if you put them together on one cartridge. So the save file keeps both games' data intact. Which is just...
I remember you talking about that the first time you played it.
Right.
And I don't know that I could get over the mental whiplash
it's really
constantly experiencing.
It is tough to wrap your head around it and to remember where you have and haven't gone across two different games. But then I found a seed in that one that just completely stumped me because it required that you do the infinite bomb jump as Samus to get to something. And I'm not good at that at all. I can't fucking do that. So I just had to put it down and walk away. But we were talking about it in the Discord with a bunch of people. We were talking about the various randomizers, and somebody said, well, is there a randomizer for Symphony of the Night? So I looked it up, and yes, there is. So I had to try it. And it's really weird. Like, it not only does it move around the relics that you would need in order to finish the game, which is neat, and that's what I was after, but it also randomizes the music so that different music tracks play in different areas. And that drastically changes the tone of things.
Weird.
Because some tracks in that game are really like upbeat and video gamey. And there's a couple of tracks for like the underground catacombs and stuff that's just really somber and dark and brooding.
Right.
And when they put that dark music in the intro area at the beginning of the game, it makes the whole game feel dark. And then you get to like a hard boss and it's suddenly like playing this goofy sing-along song from the ending credits. And it's just a very weird mix match, but it's neat. It's not quite as mature as some of the other randomizers, and because
I imagine it's a lot more difficult as well to do.
Yeah, and because it's a full disk image, it's a large upload and download to randomize it. So it might take it a while before it's at the same level of maturity as the others, but it's neat to play around with.
Yeah.
And since I was playing with all these ROMs anyway, I was playing more with RetroArch on my TV, on my Android TV, and realized that I could easily stream things from the network from my computer without having to copy anything to it. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I make the randomized ROM on my computer, I just walk over to my TV and then I can play it on the big screen with an Xbox controller or an 8-bit controller, and it makes it very comfortable. Instead of having to sit in front of the computer while I'm playing it.
That's the streaming future I want.
Right?
In-home streaming.
Yeah. And it's not even streaming. It's playing it natively on my Android TV. It's just streaming the ROM file.
Right.
And the save file. It's also streaming the save files back and forth so that if I wanted to resume my save, I could do so on my computer, which is nice.
Yeah.
And then also Mario Golf came out. And
it did.
It
did come out.
I played a little bit of that, not as much as some of the other people in the Discord. It is weird. I was expecting traditional Mario Golf with also this bonus multiplayer mode that was frenetic and stupid and fun.
Yeah.
But instead, they added some of that frenetic, fast pace to the regular golf. Mm-hmm. And so your sprinting stat becomes very important very early.
Yeah, I did listen to a couple podcasts on it. I don't have much intention of picking it up, but I was curious. And when people are like, oh, yeah, and then you have to run to where your ball landed, I was like, you have to what?
Yeah, it's
like
very
real
weird.
Life?
Yeah.
That's why we play video golf, so we don't have to.
Exactly. So I don't know if I will put quite as many hours into it as I had hoped, but I do plan on picking away at it from time to time, and hopefully I find a groove with it.
Yeah. Let's jump into some news.
Yeah.
We're just starting off with a shitty one here. In-game advertising platform Player One has launched, allowing publishers to include full TV-style commercials in video games.
Yay.
Deals have already been reached with EA and Tencent.
Oh, boy.
So kindly fuck off forever.
Hey, you remember last episode when we were talking about how we didn't want to become just negative assholes about everything?
I do remember that. And then they put TV commercials that the entire video industry has learned we need to move away from into my video games.
Oh, no, we have not learned that. Apparently, somebody on YouTube uploaded an advertisement that's 100 minutes long, and it's unskippable for some people.
Oh, my God, what?
Yeah, so people are trying to watch like a 8-minute YouTube video about bullshit, and it's like, watch this ad first, and it's 100 minutes long.
Well, I sure am glad that I use the hacked version of YouTube now.
Yeah, I just pay for it so I don't see ads.
Fans have remastered Final Fantasy 13 on PC to give the game full 4K visuals and cinematics and improved textures. Yeah. What the fuck are you doing, Square Enix? Just re-releasing Final Fantasy 1 through 6 again while other people are doing your jobs for you? Okay.
Well, technically, Square Enix did update that game to 4K on the Xbox One X a couple of years ago. But I don't know why they didn't do the same on PC. That could have been an easy conversion
because Japanese developers keeping PC and console releases concurrent is just not the reality we live in.
Right.
Konami and Bloober Team, the developers of The Medium, have announced a partnership to develop an upcoming game highly likely to be Silent Hill.
And oh man, are Silent Hill fans bitter about this? Oh, they are salty and angry.
Why? It's a new game. It's what they wanted. What, they want more skateboards?
Apparently, they did not want a new game from Bloober Team. I played a good chunk of The Medium, and I didn't think it was a bad game at all.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It was kind of one of those like middling games.
Yeah,
it felt like when it came
out. Was maybe a 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10, something like that. It was not. Yeah. It wasn't anything I'd write home about, but it was neat to play for a bit. And honestly, I'd rate that higher than the last few Silent Hill games. So I don't know where the big issue is, but people are really upset. One of the directors at Bloober Team came out and was like, no, the project we keep saying we've been working on, that is not Silent Hill. He didn't say the next project isn't, but he did clarify that what they have already been working on is not. So
you notice this a lot in fandoms that have been going for a long time that have not had new or good content in a long time.
Right.
And it becomes this situation where it's like they desperately want a new thing, but what they want is for that new thing to be a time machine to take them back to experience the part of that thing that they really loved the first time.
Exactly.
And it's an impossible task for anyone to overcome.
Yeah.
Now, granted, companies also, especially in the video game industry, habitually disregard their own history and fuck things up for money because they don't care and they're lazy. So,
I don't know if Konami would do that.
There's some merit to bitching about new things. But at the same time, a lot of the times it just feels like they're like, no, we want Silent Hill 2 again. And you're like, it just isn't going to be like that.
They did that. They called it Silent Hill Downpour, and they bitched about that too.
Yeah, it's never going to be the same.
Yeah, I know.
Konami announces Contra returns, an iOS/Android Contra game. Speaking of companies being lazy with their properties.
The same company.
Well, the last Contra did so well that I think... what the fuck was that Switch one that everyone hated? I bought it. I bought it and played it on my vacation because it was on sale for like $3.
It was also on PS4 and Xbox One too.
And it was just real boring.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Persona series reaches 15 million copies sold worldwide with higher than expected sales of Persona 5 Royal and the PC port of Persona 4 Golden.
That's good news for them.
Very good news. Very exciting. I like Persona. One day I'll finish Persona 4. I played a bit of it in the last couple of weeks because I quit Yakuza and I was like, I need an RPG, and I played some of that, and then I think after that I got Mech Assault from you, and I was like, fuck everything else.
I don't need JRPGs anymore. I have Mech Assault.
I can be a robot. CEO and founder of Illumination Entertainment, makers of Despicable Me and Minions, has been named as an outside director on Nintendo's board. I think that is a good thing. I think Illumination makes good stuff. I've seen a couple of the Despicable Me movies, and they're pretty good. And honestly, even the Minions movie, as annoying as like the Minions are in that kind of Rabbids way,
right?
It's a funny movie. It's fine.
I've seen parts of one of the Despicable Me movies, so I have no opinion about any of that. I do know that they are working on the upcoming Super Mario movie. Who knows what is going to happen there. But
I think Illumination also did the Sing movies. I think
which movies?
Were Sing.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, they're called Sing. It's about a pig that sings.
Oh, no, that's Babe. I saw that one.
Excuse me. Pig in the City. Babe, Pig in the City. That's the one they did. Illumination. I watched Babe, Pig in the City 100 times if I watched it once.
I didn't see that one.
a Microsoft engineer managed to steal 152,000 Microsoft gift cards worth $10.1 million over 2 years.
Did you read this story?
No.
Okay.
I read that they were having to pay back like 8-point-something million.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so they get to keep the other 2 million? Like, what happens?
So what happened was this guy was a tester. He was testing the system, and what he was specifically testing was the Microsoft Store. And they would task them with purchase X number of products, and the transaction didn't actually go through, and nothing would be shipped. And they were just testing to make sure that the store interface worked. Right. And he learned that while it wouldn't ship you a computer and it wouldn't give you a piece of software, it would issue you a valid code for a gift card. And
what the fuck did he do with $10 million in Microsoft
sold them
gift cards? Okay, I guess in my head I'm like, obviously he redeemed everything on the Xbox Store. I guess your version makes more sense.
No, he was selling them. So he would redeem. He started with like a few $10 cards just to see if it would really work, and it did. And then he started doing $50 and $100 cards, and he just kept doing them. And before you know it, he's redeemed 152,000 Microsoft gift cards.
Oh, gosh,
I don't understand how, one, you can let it get that far, and two, you can even think about letting it get that far and not think you're going to get caught.
I don't know how the fuck Microsoft didn't notice that. Like,
I'm sure they noticed it along the way. They were just trying to finalize whatever evidence they needed to come after him.
Yeah.
But
Streets of Rage 4 getting upcoming DLC and another physical release, this time being the complete version of the game, I guess.
Yep.
Which I'm glad they're doing, but I imagine some people that bought the previous physical are probably a little miffed if they're the kind of people that like to have the complete on-cart versions of games.
Right.
Those people are out there.
Yeah, I can definitely understand being upset about that, but at least it is getting that complete release. So from a preservation standpoint, that's good.
Epilogue announces the GB Operator, a device that lets you load Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance carts on your PC for $49.99. Now, I have news for Epilogue. I can already load Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games on my PC just fine.
What?
I don't know that I
You just plug them in and they work?
Well, it's a little tricky. First, you set the cartridge on your desk, and then you go download the ROM for it after you've proven that you legally own it to the website by holding it up in front of your webcam.
Naturally. Now, not only does this read the cartridges and play them in real time, basically just loading the ROM directly off of the ROM image, but it also apparently can detect if a game is a repro or not. So.
Oh, wow. That's extremely useful for the GBA market, which is just fucked with repros.
Right. That was the thing that the news articles I was saying were really focusing on, is that it can detect repros. That's some value add there.
Now, I will say, even for the most modern versions of GBA repros, it is not that hard to tell a repro cart from an official. But if you don't know and you're not willing to do the research, it's real easy to get burned.
And also, this allows you to do it without taking them apart.
True. Kojima and Microsoft are working on an exclusive Xbox game that will inevitably be confusing and weird and star some kind of celebrity, because that just seems to be his thing now.
Yeah, that's a shtick now. Every headline I read about this was they are getting closer to finalizing their plans, and I'm like, well.
So nothing has happened.
Yeah,
nothing's happened.
You're announcing nothing at this point.
Yeah. They're announcing that one day they're going to make an announcement Saturn.
My bad.
Sony confirms that the PlayStation Vita and PS3 owners will still be able to purchase PSP games on the store.
That's good.
So, never mind, I guess. We heard you were upset, so never mind.
Now, so that does mean that you'll still be able to get the PSP games. If you're getting them on a PS3, you can still copy them to a PSP. So that's something. Though at this point, it's still much easier to just hack a PSP.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, well, I have a PSP and I still want to buy my legit digital games. We'll go buy a PS3 so that you can download your
pretty much
games.
That's your option.
Netflix for the 3DS and Wii U has been disabled, much to the chagrin of tweens everywhere.
I actually knew a guy, he's in his 30s now, and he still was using his Wii U as his primary Netflix device just because he liked the gamepad interface for it.
I guess so, yeah. That seems pretty cool. ROM Universe owner who was ordered to pay Nintendo $2.1 million is considering reopening the website.
Why?
Stop!
What are you doing?
Oh my God.
What a fucking idiot.
Chinese piracy site has banned the sale of Yakuza games after Kiryu's voice actor thanked a VTuber on Twitter, unrelated to her critical comments about China.
Sure.
What the fuck, Planet? What is going on?
Apparently, a VTuber said something critical about China.
I don't even know half these words. I know Yakuza.
And then later, Kiryu's voice actor, unrelated, saw that she had been streaming Yakuza, and so he thanked her for it. And having seen that he acknowledged her existence whatsoever, a Chinese piracy website banned the sale of Yakuza games. So the punishment for him talking to a person is, we will no longer let people pirate your game.
Take that,
right?
Sega. PCSX2 is removing plugin functionality and will include all console functions in the base emulator. That's good. That emulator has always felt a little jank. Like it runs fine, but it's always kind of a little janky to set up.
And honestly, I'm a big fan of plugins just going away altogether in emulators. It was a useful idea back in the day when the emulators were not yet mature. The emulators are mature now. We can skip that part.
A rare sealed copy of Zelda 1 for the NES was put up for auction with a starting bid of $110,000, and it ended at $870,000.
Holy fuck.
Woof.
Think of how many Zelda Game & Watches you could buy with that.
A lot.
A lot.
You could buy a whole lot.
A lot of them.
Think about how many houses you could buy for that.
At least 2.5.
At least. PCE Works opened the Mega Engine for limited pre-orders to people who have previously expressed interest by subscribing to their mailing list, except for me.
Yeah, I did get the invite for the pre-order, and honestly, I don't know that I'm willing to spend that money on it.
What is the price on it?
So it is 279 euros, which is about $330 if I did the math right.
And from what I understand, it basically runs RetroArch and loads PC Engine and TurboGrafx CD games.
No, it runs TurboGrafx CD and Sega CD games.
Okay, so no PC Engine?
Oh, yeah, well, that's the same as TurboGrafx
okay,
CD.
I'm with you. Yeah.
But yeah, it runs the various CD. It's basically a Polymega, but without Saturn support and PlayStation support and no modules involved. And also it's $330. And it doesn't come with a controller.
We'll see.
Yeah.
New Quake reboot rumored for release on the Series X and S, which, man, I would love that. I love some of the Quake games. Holy cow.
I love every other Quake game.
Everything like Quake 3 and onward, love it. Quake 1 and 2, still like them. Don't love them, like them a lot, though.
I like Quake 1 multiplayer.
I think my favorite Quake was Quake Wars, like multiplayer-wise.
I never got around to that one.
It was one of the enemy territory games. It was very fun. Yeah. PlayStation has removed Japan Studio from its list of developers.
That's unfortunate. I think
they said anything about it.
I think they let go a lot of the staff a couple of months ago, and now they're just completely
dissolved. Yeah. Atari Gaming reportedly moving away from free-to-play and mobile games and toward premium PC and console games. If you say so, Atari.
Sure. Let's think about the last time they did that.
I just want a Bionic Commando reboot style thing, but for Pac-Man. Can we get that, please? I know it's going to be the worst thing ever, and I want to see that train wreck.
Pac-Man is Namco, not Atari.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Yeah.
What does Atari own?
You got Breakout. You got Pong.
Yeah, can we get a Bionic Commando style reimagining of Pong then? That'd be great.
Yeah.
You know why I always mix up Atari and Namco? Because their logos are just their name in a red font.
No, Atari has the Fuji symbol.
Right, but then they just write Atari under it, and it's red, and it looks like Namco to me. I also mix up Konami with Namco because they're also both just red letters.
All of this is very strange to me.
Apparently, I don't know how to read. It's red and it's letters. It's Konami or Namco or Atari, one of those three. Nintendo reveals the Nintendo Switch OLED model with a larger OLED screen, more storage, and a new dock with built-in Ethernet for $349.
Yeah, I get why they waited a few weeks from E3 for this, because there was that fever pitch about
people would have been so disappointed.
Pro Switch is coming out any day now. They're going to announce it. It's definitely getting announced before E3, and then finally a few weeks later they announce, well, it's not a Pro model. It's just a slightly revised model.
And then I think my favorite comment was someone being like, everyone's angry that Nintendo didn't do a thing they never said they were going to do.
Yeah, basically that. They could not live up to the expectations that somebody unfairly hoisted upon them.
Now, someone did point out, and I didn't even think about this because I'm so excited for it, that
I'm not at all.
They said, well, people that play primarily in TV mode will literally see zero benefit.
Yeah,
that
the Ethernet port is the only change, and I've already got a USB Ethernet adapter on.
Yeah, I was going to say you can get a USB Ethernet for
$10,
$9 on Amazon, and then you're good to go. Yeah. I'm very excited for it as a primarily handheld player, bigger screen. Also, it's going to have the improved battery of the slight previous revision we have, because I still have a launch model. So I'm looking at better battery, bigger screen, better screen. That's all.
I do like the white Joy-Con. Those are nice.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get a white one. I don't think I'm going to get anything because scalpers, but we'll see. A Reddit user leaked an image of the unannounced Animal Crossing Monopoly, and it is very cute and has very cute little tiny Animal Crossing people in it, and I want it, and it's cute.
It has since been properly announced, and I believe they said it is GameStop exclusive.
Oh, and it's Monopoly. Yeah, never mind. I'm not going to buy it. But those are cute little figures.
Yeah.
Tencent deploys a facial recognition engine called Midnight Patrol. To combat minors gaming at night. This facial recognition software will recognize a minor playing a game, and the Midnight Patrol will then kick them off of their game. What the fuck? What?
You remember when we were talking about dystopian stuff earlier?
I remember that. This is fucked beyond belief. And then they call it the Midnight Patrol.
Right? That's fucking creepy.
What the fuck?
I could make a horror movie called The Midnight Patrol.
Why not just call it like The Thought Agency, or just get it over with and just fucking, Minecraft now rated for 19 plus in South Korea to comply with the nation's Cinderella law for minors,
which is also kind of a Midnight Patrol thing, but in South Korea there's a rule about kids can't play online at night. And any game that is playable online at night requires certain things to be tracked, so because of that, all Microsoft accounts for Xbox Live are 19 plus, and anything that requires it is 19 plus. And since the Java version of Minecraft will now require a Microsoft account, it is also now rated 19 plus.
And ending our news segment, and just kind of the cherry on top of this video game dystopia that we live in, PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones are now increasing in price on the secondhand market due to limited supply of new consoles. Everything is fucked. It's all fucked. Your old video games cost $1 million. The Midnight Patrol is going to keep you from playing your games, and you can't find fucking Xboxes or PlayStations anywhere. Yeah. We're fucked.
Well, don't worry.
Oh my God.
Fortunately, today's topic is all upbeat and does not at all have a downer ending.
Just go pirate everything, please. Everything is fucked right now. I feel like that we should go back to our State of Retro Gaming episode we did just a few weeks ago and just add an addendum that's just everything is fucked.
You remember the trailer for Smash Brothers on Switch, and it had the big "Everyone is here" thing? We just need that, but everything is fucked.
Oh, no. Let's get into the topic at hand. This week we were talking about Yuji Naka.
Yes.
Who's that guy? What made Balan Wonderland?
Wonder World.
Oh, pardon me. Wonder World. Yes. I was bored even reading the whole title of that game, much less playing it. So I couldn't I just gave up and guessed for the end of it.
The sad thing is, I constantly hear people call it Balan Wonderland. So you're not alone.
I've been calling it that this whole... I just now literally realized it's Wonder World in this very moment. Yeah. Not one time did I read it as Wonder World.
Yeah.
Who the fuck makes a Wonder... You make a Wonderland. It's an established thing. He did do Balan Wonderland. He also did
Wonder
other stuff,
World.
We will... Fuck! Whatever. He did Balan Disney World. And
you couldn't make it like 3 sentences and still remember that.
It's okay. Earlier, I thought Atari made Pac-Man. So what the fuck do I know? I have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing on this show. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know how I got here. I don't know what's... Normally we have a writing team that makes me sound like I know about video games, and they've been on vacation after my vacation, so I don't really know what I'm doing anymore.
You've never actually played a video game.
Yeah, I like the Nintendos. There, that's my.
Good, he's back in character.
I like the Super Genesis or whatever. It's good video games. Play the Sonic.
Perfect. You remember at the beginning of this
on the Game Box too, you know.
You remember the beginning of this episode when you tried to pretend we were back to normal?
Yeah, I remember that. That's fucking falling apart. Yuji Naka was born September 17th, 1965 in Hirataka, Osaka, Japan. He began programming in high school via code in programming magazines, as so many young people did in that era.
Right.
He studied assemblers and coding while in school, reportedly writing out code in his notebooks during classes. And after high school, he skipped going to university and opted to apply for jobs in his hometown.
I can't imagine just handwriting code far away from a computer.
To be fair, in that era, you know, especially in the timeshare era, a lot of it was you writing code away from a computer, because then you get on the computer and they're like, you got half an hour and then we're going to delete everything you did, and you're like, oh fuck.
But he didn't code at school. He coded at home on his home computer. So it's not like he was. Well, he might have been fighting for time with his family, for all I know. So
that's true. Or maybe his home computer wasn't capable enough to do what he wanted to do, or
also possible.
But still, yeah, I can't imagine sitting and writing code in the notebook. I would just be like, this must all be wrong. It has to be.
Right.
But Saturn, I'll let you talk about his transition to Sega.
Imagine when you handwrite your code, your debugger is you just hand it to the other guy in the class. And you're like, what does it look like to you? Fails. But where? Yeah, somewhere.
He'd be just as vague as your regular debugger. Just be like, yeah, warning. What do you mean a warning? Yeah, warning. Yeah, where? In the code. God damn it, I know it's in the code. Where in the code?
Crashed executable.
Warning.
What does that mean?
Critical error.
Syntax error.
In the code.
Where in the syntax is there an error? Syntax error.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Anyway, he got a job at Sega. Saturn, tell us about that.
Yeah, he started working at Sega in early '84. The first title he worked on was an SG-1000 game called Girls Garden. He was working alongside future Fantasy Zone composer Hiroshi Kawaguchi. And Kawaguchi at the time was still planning on being a programmer. He wasn't planning on being a composer.
I'm so glad he didn't go down that path, because then we wouldn't have Fantasy Zone's fantastic soundtrack.
Right. Well, he also contributed to the code in Fantasy Zone, but he was mostly known for soundtrack by that point.
Available on Spotify, I'll have you know.
Nice.
As so many other Sega games are. I was playing Forza and listening to the Outrun soundtrack, and that was fun.
Nice. I just purchased the Daytona soundtrack in Yakuza 7.
Oh, yeah. I got that too. And then I went straight to the bar and listened to the Daytona theme. And I was like, okay, I'm going to leave now. I wish I could play this in the overworld, but I can't. Why?
I was glad that you could play it during the racing minigame in Yakuza 5. That was great. Anyway, but the game they were working on, this Girls Garden game, is started as just a training project for they were at the time the two new employees, and they just wanted to test what they were capable of. But as the project progressed, management took note and decided to actually release the game commercially. It's basically a Pac-Man clone.
As was everything in 1984.
Pretty much. And it was re-released in some compilations later, but it's otherwise only notable as Yuji Naka's first game. I wouldn't like hunt it down and expect like Proto-Sonic. That's not what you're going to find.
Right.
And it wasn't a big success. However, his programming ability was recognized within the company, and he was then assigned the task of converting several arcade games to the SG-1000 and the Mark III. Mostly a lot of Yu Suzuki's big hits, stuff like Outrun and Space Harrier. Yuji Naka got to bring to the home market. And then following the success of games like Ultima and Wizardry and Dragon Quest, Sega wanted an RPG of their own for the SMS because third-party publishers just weren't bringing them to the SMS.
Right.
And so designer Kotaro Hayashida, who had also done Alex Kidd, and Yuji Naka both expressed interest in making an RPG. And so Naka was the lead programmer for what would become Phantasy Star.
I gotta say, I'm blown away that they brought in the Alex Kidd guy and ended up with Phantasy Star, because that would have been pretty red flags everywhere.
When you think I need somebody to make my sprawling intergalactic RPG, someone get the Alex Kidd guy in here.
Who was the guy that made the game where you fought bosses with rock, paper, scissors? Is he around here?
Right.
I don't want to hate on the person. I'm not sure. They're a fine programmer.
Right. Well, he was the designer. Naka was the programmer.
Oh, okay. Not a fine designer. At least not on Alex Kidd. Right. And I maintain that Alex Kidd is... Oh, it's rough. It's a rough one.
So Naka was impressed with the first-person 3D dungeons that he found in computer RPGs at the time, but he didn't like that they rendered the scenes in low resolution and poor frame rate, and usually in little tiny boxes on the screen. So one of his main goals was to recreate that on the Mark III or the Master System in as big of a resolution as possible with as high of a frame rate as possible. But drawing the 2D backgrounds with a 3D perspective ended up being way too taxing on the space limitations of the cartridge. So Naka designed this whole wireframe engine in the game that the artist could then just superimpose art on top of the wireframes, and ended up saving a ton of space on the cartridge. And, looking back on it, it was really impressive tech for the Master System.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say Phantasy Star was a technical marvel for the Master System.
Absolutely.
I mean, easily... Granted, I'm not super well versed on the Master System. Right. I'm sure people in Brazil or the UK will correct me.
Right.
But I can't think of a more impressive Master System game than Phantasy Star.
It's definitely
both in
really
scope,
impressive looking game.
Graphics, everything.
Right.
Fantastically impressive game.
Yeah, and that just led to him getting even more recognition within Sega and having further success within the company. Then they obviously released the Mega Drive. And Naka had created a tech demo using an algorithm that would smoothly animate a sprite moving on a curve, and I'm sure everybody can guess where that's going.
Alex Kidd.
It was Alex Kidd 2000. The concept showed a platform game with a fast-moving character rolling in a ball through a long winding tube. And ultimately that would, of course, evolve into Sonic the Hedgehog. Just sprinkle in some Bill Clinton.
That came out of nowhere.
I know. I did find an interview with Retro Gamer where Naka said he was inspired by the Mario series, but wondered why the levels couldn't be completed more quickly.
I just wish... I love the game. I just wish it was over faster.
Right.
Can we make it be over faster?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And he also wanted to simplify the controls by only using the D-pad and a single button. So it was basically, I like this game, but I want it to be faster and simpler. Just, just happier with your mouth more open.
By Sonic 2. by Sonic 2, they'd figured it out, but conceptually, the idea being Mario, but it's over quicker and it's simpler.
Yeah,
I'd have been like, I don't know, man. I don't know. You make that work.
Yeah, and Sonic 1, it's rough around the edges in some points. Like, it was brilliant at its time, but going back to it, the first level is incredible. It is a brilliant Sonic demo.
Yes,
and subsequent levels after the first level require a little too much precision platforming, and
it feels like they didn't know where to go with it after the first zone or two.
It feels like all the other zones were designed by somebody who did not understand what the concept of the game was,
which is go as fast as you can for as long as you can.
Right. So
now stop and wait for the spike thing to move.
Right. Like,
move now.
As platform levels, they are really neat and well designed. As Sonic levels, they don't quite fit right, and it's always bugged me. But anyway, so I also saw there was an interview with Game Informer where the level designer for Sonic, Hirokazu Yasuhara, who is apparently responsible for all that shit I was just shit talking about. He said that Naka and the Sonic team would regularly work 19-hour days for several months during the game's development. That's grueling. And
that's unhealthy.
Yeah, and disgusting. Originally, there was a sound test available in the game, and it was removed for time reasons. But when it was removed, Naka used the space that was freed up on the cartridge to add the Sega chant to the logo screen without first consulting or informing management. However,
like something they'd want to know.
Right. However, it was well received. They appreciated that it was there in the end, so it got to stay. Sega did have a rule against including developer credits in games at the time, which was a lot of companies had this at the time.
Yeah, it was not uncommon at all. I would say that it was you'd see more often pseudonyms or no credits than you would see actual credits.
Yeah, by this point, I think Activision was pretty much the only company still regularly crediting people. Yeah. And so as a act of defiance, he included a black credit screen on a black background, so you couldn't actually read it unless you were taking apart the game. Yeah, but he still snuck it in there anyway, and of course people found it years later when they were hacking the ROM. Mm-hmm. And because of things like that, it did lead to some conflicts with Sega management during his time during the production of Sonic. And he was generally unhappy with the lack of recognition following the game's massive success. So he
don't
quit.
Say, yeah, you can't tell him you made it. Oh boy, Sonic sure did do good for us.
Right. So he quit. He quit Sega and was almost immediately hired by Sega of America at a higher salary.
They poached him.
Right. So he was given a higher salary. He was also given his own team at STI, the Sega Technical Institute in California. And so he moved to the U.S. office and just kept kind of working with the same guys back in Japan. So
I'm sure Sega of Japan was fucking pissed.
Oh yeah, they were not happy about any of this. So the Japanese team that he was previously on was Sega CS3. Was what it was known as at the time. It went through several names. And they were heading the development of Sonic CD, while the STI team in America with Yuji Naka in charge was in charge of producing Sonic 2. Mm-hmm. So you had Japan doing Sonic CD and him doing Sonic 2 basically at the same time.
Yeah.
And you can tell, even though Sonic CD came out later, you can tell that there was some overlap in ideas.
Yeah.
And the two teams then reunited to work together on Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And following the release of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Naka transferred back to Sega of Japan, essentially. I mean, Sega of America was still owned by Sega of Japan, so he was still a Sega employee.
The whole time.
Right. He was just, angry about it.
Yeah.
So he did move back to Sega of Japan, and he was put in charge of the team that he left, and it was now rebranded as Sonic Team. Mm-hmm. And Naka told Edge magazine that the identity of Sonic Team was formed upon the release of Nights into Dreams.
Of course, the identity of the Sonic Team would be formed on not a Sonic game.
No, not at all. He seemed like as soon as they branded the team Sonic Team, I feel like his interest in developing Sonic games proportionally went down compared to the amount of Sonic recognition in the team's title.
Finally, Sega was like, all right, fine. We'll bring you wherever you want. You just be the Sonic guy on the Sonic team. You do all the Sonic shit. You already quit and rehired yourself secretly in a different part of the company to just make Sonic. It's fine.
I want to make
fine.
not
Sonic team is making a game about a clown that flies through rings.
Basically
clowns. Fuck you. I just can't even.
It's just a very weird trajectory at this point. Which also describes most of Nights. Nights is a very weird trajectory too. Yeah. So he said that the original idea for Nights came about during the development of Sonic 2, but didn't begin until after the release of Sonic and Knuckles, and that the motivating factor was just he was tired of making more Sonic games.
Yeah.
So I can get that. They did pump out basically 2 games and then a massive game all back to back to back.
Yeah.
And he was resistant to making the game fully polygonal. Because he said that pixel sprites were a more mature technology and they could be more expressive. And he was generally unfamiliar with the Saturn hardware, and that led to a lot of delays in the development. And the game's design and concept changed many times because of these delays. But the most consistent idea throughout was that the game should be able to be completed by inexperienced players.
Now, when I think about Nights into Dreams and I put it on a 2D plane, it is kind of Sonic-y. You know?
Yeah. And you can, if you really want to put Nights on a 2D plane, just download the PSO version to your GBA, and that's it.
Oh,
that's what
okay.
it is.
Well, there you go.
Right?
Does it play like Sonic, kind of?
Kind of like flying Sonic? Basically flying Sonic.
Yeah.
So as they shifted from the Saturn to the Dreamcast, Naka basically stepped away from the role of programmer, mostly after Nights. And he took on more of a production role on games like Burning Rangers and Sonic Adventure and Phantasy Star Online. One of those is a Sonic game, notably.
Yes, Sonic Team did work on one Sonic game in there.
Yeah, during that era. Also, I think they did Sonic R.
Oh.
Technically a Sonic game. Anyway.
Yeah.
And by 2005, Naka was basically involved in all game development at Sega in one way or another. Senior figures like Yu Suzuki and Toshihiro Nagoshi. Yu Suzuki, of course, well known for stuff like Outrun and Space Harrier and Shenmue. And Toshihiro Nagoshi would do stuff like Super Monkey Ball and Yakuza. All of them were reporting to Yuji Naka.
Yeah.
So he was basically the head of everything at this point as far as game development goes. Everything was funneling into him.
Yeah. And this is also kind of a weird dark period for Sonic of all people.
Yeah, because we're coming up on Sonic 06, I guess.
This whole era here, yeah.
And so he just left Sega at this point. Everybody's reporting to him. He's basically in charge of everything, and he's like, peace.
I don't want to say the man is a contrarian.
Yeah.
But he sure feels like one sometimes.
It does feel like it. So yeah, he left Sega in 2006. He formed an independent studio named Propay. I had to look up how it was pronounced. I found it on...
I sell Propay and Propay accessories.
I knew that joke would happen. So yeah, they said it was named after a Latin word, and I've already forgotten what it fucking meant. But
propane.
It means propane. It's the Latin word for propane.
Yeah.
So yeah, he leaves and he forms Propay alongside 10 former members of Sonic Team. 10% of the startup capital for the new company came from Sega, so he's still basically tied to Sega. In exchange, Sega had the right of first refusal for publishing Propay's games, and they would refuse a lot of them. So Propay put out basically a series of budget titles for mobile platforms, as well as the eShops on the Wii and the 3DS. They also worked with Bandai Namco to produce Digimon Adventure and Digimon All-Star Rumble. You're a Digimon fan. How are those?
Those are not the most well-remembered Digimon games.
Good to know.
I'll say that. They're not greatly remembered. Digimon games.
So the biggest successes that Propay had, and Propay still exists as a company, by the way. I found that they are still making. Well, they're not making anything, but they still exist as a company.
Yeah, I mean, like, is Naka still there? Or did he hand it off to someone?
He is technically still there. We'll get to that. Their biggest successes came from a game called Ivy the Kiwi, which has a question mark at the end of the game.
I believe it is pronounced Eevee the Kiwi.
Is it?
First of all. Second of all, Eevee the Kiwi is fucking fantastic.
Is it?
What a kick-ass game. Yeah, I bought that on Wii. It was a budget title on Wii.
Yeah, it is a budget title on Wii. It was also a budget title on DS.
Yep, and it came out, and I bought it just randomly because I was like, what the fuck is Ivy the Kiwi? Eevee the Kiwi is great. It's so much fun. It's kind of like, and it's been years since I played it, but I remember getting it and spending a whole weekend with it.
Nice.
Where you use the Wii remote to draw little vines that Eevee walks on, and you have to direct her through these levels. So it's kind of like a weird Lemmings-ish sort of thing.
Well, it was originally
a fun game.
Originally, it was a Windows mobile game.
Oh, God.
And then it was ported to the DS and the Wii and to current mobile platforms.
Yeah, I still have my physical of it. It's a fun game. It's a really fun game.
When you play it, does it feel like a Windows mobile game?
No.
That's good.
I mean, it's a Wii game. Basically, all Wii games feel like weird budget cell phone games.
That's fair.
You play them with the Wii remote.
Right.
But, yeah.
Other big successes, they had Rodea the Sky Soldier. Which...
I have a problem with you saying that Rodea the Sky Soldier was a success.
Because
I can still find huge piles of copies of it at Target that they cannot get rid of.
Here's my thing. Of the games that they made, these were their biggest successes.
Oh, no. Rodea the Sky Soldier was like one of those games where everyone was like, it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
And it was instantly on sale for like $10 and nobody bought it.
It was treated like it was this cult Wii game in Japan that we didn't get over here. And everybody was like, oh, you should, if you were a Japanese Wii owner, you'd have Rodea the Sky Soldier because it's clearly great. And then it finally came out on Wii U over here with the Wii version in the package. So it was a free bonus. And then it came out and everybody's like, it's okay. It's an okay game.
Yeah.
And then their biggest success is Real Ski Jump HD, which is an iOS title with 4 million downloads.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
I guess you either die the hero or live long enough to become the villain, right? That's how it goes.
Live long enough to create Real Ski Jump HD. In March of 2019, in an interview, Naka admitted that Prope had become a one-person company since April of 2017.
Is he that person?
He's that person. Okay. So he is Prope. However, in January 2018, it looked like things were turning around because Yuji Naka was hired by Square Enix. Naka's original plan at Square Enix was to create mobile games like he had been doing at Prope. However, he was...
Do you ever wonder if Yuji Naka fucking hates video games?
I'm starting to wonder that, yeah.
And he just happens to be so good at making awesome video games that he makes them. He's like, fine, it's fucking this thing, I guess. And everybody's like, oh my God, that game's amazing. And he's like, all right, fine, it fucking is. And here's this thing. And we're like, oh, that's amazing too. And he's like, all right, fine, how about fucking a game about a kiwi and you draw vines? And I'm like, it's great too. And he's like, I don't know. Fucking skiing on phones. I don't know. Just stop. I want to quit. You know, like, do you ever feel that way?
I'm starting to feel that way. I'm starting to feel like maybe that was his trajectory since Girls Garden. Like maybe he was just like, well, what about this shit?
All right, I don't know. He's a blue fucking hedgehog. He runs fast. Oh, you love that? How about a flying clown, you idiots? What do you mean you loved it? What do you mean you want me to make Christmas nights? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. What about
I'm sure he loves video games.
What about an MMO, but you can only use the dial-up modem on the Dreamcast? Yeah.
It'll be terrible. Your connection will drop constantly. It's sold how many? You want a version on the GameCube? What the fuck?
Does the GameCube even have a modem? Yeah. So he may have fallen into success a few times looking back. So he was brought on at Square Enix and he wanted to make mobile games. And instead, Shinji Hashimoto, who's the brand manager for Final Fantasy, another franchise you may have heard of, convinced him, instead of making mobile games, you should make a next generation action platform game.
And he went, oh, I should, huh? How about a fucking magician that flies through rings?
So they formed the Balan Company within Square Enix because they assumed that this was going to be a successful franchise and multiple games were going to come from it.
Just do the Sonic Team thing up front.
Yeah,
there you go.
They're ready. However, Naka was told as the project started by management, this is your one chance at making an action game within Square Enix. And if it doesn't succeed, you're not making another one. And so their original design proposal for the game listed 80 power-ups for the character. And Naka says he assumed they would just narrow that down as production went on, and instead they made all 80 power-ups.
You know, I didn't know there were 80 power-ups in the game, and I love power-ups, and that kind of makes me want to play it.
So let me tell you how, because I own the game. Let me tell you how it works.
I know. You paid money for it.
I did. What the fuck was wrong with me?
Like full money.
Almost. Anyway, so here's how it works. You've got...
He said, how about a fucking magician that changes clothes and flies through rings? And said, yes, please.
That's the bonus round.
Oh, no.
So the main game is you play as a kid, and you have your analog stick moves and a button. That's it. That's the game.
Yeah, because they want people that Mario is too complicated for to be able to play it.
He's still thinking that same thing he thought with Sonic and with Knights about how he wants it to be more simple and how he wants even inexperienced players to be able to finish it. So you have movement, button. That's your controls for the entire game. And every costume does something different with that button. Some of them can jump. A lot of them cannot. This is a platformer. So if you're in a costume that cannot jump, you have to change costumes when you come up with a small ledge.
And when there's 80 of them, it's probably hard to find the jumping ones. Huh?
Well, that's the thing. You can only have 3 at a time.
Oh.
You have to go to a changing booth if you want to change which 3 you have on you right now.
Kind of seems like they could have just done maybe 20 costumes.
Right.
And each costume had 4 things.
Here's another thing. If you die in a costume, you lose it. And you have to go find it again.
Say you die in real life.
You die in real life. This is basically, it's the Hellraiser of video games.
It's a Matrix type situation we have going on here with Balan Wonder World.
Yeah. So yeah, if you die in a costume, you lose that costume, and you have to go find it again. Now you can stockpile them up. So if you collect more of it, they get added to your costume booth, and you can go collect it again.
Is it tedious?
It's so tedious. It's so incredibly tedious. And that's my big complaint about it. Like, on the surface level, it could be a fun platformer, but it's just so tedious.
Yeah.
And it's a collectathon on top of that.
Oh, no.
So...
Yuji Naka, why?
Yeah. So
you could have made Real Ski Jump HD 2 and you didn't. This was your chance.
That was his plan. And the Final Fantasy guy was like, but what if instead you made an action platformer for the PS5?
What if it's a kid that turns into a magician that flies through rings? Stop it, please.
So as
I want to retire.
Right. So as we know, the game released to generally unfavorable reviews. That was how Wikipedia phrased it.
I am calling it right now. In 10 years, this is going to be a hidden gem that people talk about how underrated it was. I guarantee it.
It was an early launch title for the next gen platform, so it mostly got ignored.
It didn't sell very well. You know, everyone wanted to do Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but Balan Wonderworld, that was something different. Okay.
Yeah. So
I guarantee you.
It's also available on Switch and PS4 and Xbox One. It's on every fucking thing you could try to buy it for.
They wanted $60 for it.
They wanted $60 for it.
Yeah.
It's not worth $60. I'm going to say that.
It didn't
right
review
now.
Well. It sold bad. It just has been bad.
Yeah. So as of April 2021, Naka is no longer employed at Square Enix. He is technically still employed at ProPay. He said I assume
he's just was single-handedly making Real Ski Jump HD 2. He's like, I'm going to show these fuckers. And then 2 years from now, he's going to form the Real Ski Jump HD company.
That's mean. No, he said he is currently considering an early retirement following the lackluster release of Balan Wonderworld, which is sad. But I also can't blame him because I'm sure the dude has made just bank in his life between all these incredible games he has made. But I feel bad for him after Balan Wonderworld because it is.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's not what you want.
We're laughing and we're making fun, but he made some truly legendary games.
Absolutely, and clearly his programming ability was absolutely stellar during the 80s and the 90s. And it feels like, to me anyways, when I was researching all this, it was when he transitioned from programming to directing and producing the games attached to him stopped being so universally acclaimed and started becoming more weird.
Well, whenever you hear of someone that's brought in to design a game saying, oh, I thought they'd narrow down all the costumes I made in production. Well, nah, man, you're designing. That's your job.
Right.
You know, the programming team's not going to come in and go, yeah, we're going to change your design. They're going to do their best to meet your design. So, I wonder if it's one of those things where, maybe he works better with, a more solid plan than just, hey, what do you want to do?
Yeah, and I wonder if more of it was just he is a programmer. And he is not a designer. And maybe he was just pushed into the wrong role because of early successes.
Also very possible.
So
absolutely.
I kind of feel bad for him, but also he probably has more money than I'll ever see in my life. So I can't feel too bad for him.
List of notable titles, just to fire through them. Many of them we've already mentioned. Phantasy Star 1 and 2, Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, Nights into Dreams, Burning Rangers, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, Choo Choo Rocket, Samba de Amigo, PSO, the Sonic Advance series, which is very beloved, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, which is on GameCube.
That is a thing.
Phantasy Star Universe, Eevee the Kiwi, Rodea the Sky Soldier, Balan Wonderland,
Wonder World. It's still Wonder World.
Fuck! He's made a lot of, if not amazing, at the very least, very notable games.
I like his career went from amazing to notable.
yeah. And as far as just final thoughts, he really did some cool stuff. Yeah, it's a shame his modern output seems to have fallen off a bit.
Right.
He definitely defined the Kiwi-based platform for me, personally.
Excuse me, sir. Have you never played the New Zealand story?
I'm saying it right now. Eevee the Kiwi is a better Kiwi-based platformer.
I outright refuse to believe that is plausible.
Next episode, New Zealand story versus Eevee the Kiwi. It's happening. That's where we're going.
Oh, I would take that. Challenge.
He has worked on some of Sega's most legendary titles, and as far as defining Sega as a company, is one of the most notable individuals.
Certainly in the 90s.
If not the most.
Yeah, I think that he basically defined Sega of the 90s. And
for sure.
And the stuff that he put out at that company at that time, certainly from the home user perspective, was Sega. In the arcades they were doing some different stuff, but in the home market, it was basically just the products of Yuji Naka defined the company. And he absolutely deserves all the credit he has gotten for everything he did through the 80s and 90s. Things since then, it's unfortunate what has happened since then. We will say that.
It's been hit or miss.
Yeah, and I have still enjoyed some of those since then. I absolutely love Choo Choo Rocket and PSO, and I played Rodea the Sky Soldier and Balan Wonderworld. I've technically played.
What about Real Ski Jump HD, Saturday? I really don't know.
I should have picked that up in preparation. The Real Ski Jump
HD team worked on that for a long time.
I should have picked that one up in research for this episode so I could know more about Real Ski Jump HD.
There you go. Yeah. And you, the listener, should pick up a subscription to our Patreon over at patreon.com/Retro Warriors.
You should ski jump right into our Patreon.
Where you can pay us money every month for cool things like Talking Wizards, early uncut access to this show, fun things like that. Also, please come join us on Discord. Check out our Redbubble in the show comments if you want to support us in a non-subscription based format, which we would also greatly appreciate.
Indeed.
We have lots of cool stickers and t-shirts and socks and
mugs,
food chat
which is
weird stuff. We have a food chat sticker.
Yeah.
Which is just great. We also have a game dumpster sticker and t-shirt.
It's a game dumpsters.
Which Andrew always wears when I see him.
Nice.
Anyway, we do want to thank the following patrons for making this specific episode possible, starting with Platform Agnostic.
And Michael Cabetti.
Chris.
A Random Banana.
Neon Rocket Ship.
Hot Buttered Shit.
Ebucel.
Nobody dies a virgin because life fucks us all.
And Sean S.
And Michael Winters.
They're all the patrons that made this episode possible, and we do want to thank them from the bottom of our hearts. And yeah, that's it. That's Yuji Naka. And potentially, that's his whole career. We may end up never having to revise this topic or revisit it. This may just be
That's unfortunate.
Anyway, we'll be back next week. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, let us cling together.